the list was just gigantic. So I will start with my parents. That's excuse me, they'd be very happy to be here today. So I'll tell a quick story. My dad got on a jury, and he was living in Los Angeles, and he went to this court in Los Angeles, and he said, "Well, my son's a police officer." And this was a incident where a bad guy shot at a police officer, and he was on trial for it. But my dad somehow got on the jury with his son as a policeman. So it tells you what kind of man he was. To really be able to instill confidence in a jury, or confidence in at least a jury pool, that he would be objective in something like that. I pulled him aside. I said, "Dad, obviously that guy's guilty. I mean, if he's in custody, he's guilty, right?" I'm afraid there's no judges or lawyers here. But in essence, he was convicted, by the way. But first of all, I'll tell you, there's no way I could be successful without a family behind me. So the people that are here today are much more than just a pretty face. They are truly the people that bring me back down after those crazy council meetings like last night. And so when I try to get home at 1 a.m. or midnight, you know, she wakes up and says, "Why did that mayor keep you here so long?" I promised I wouldn't say that, but you know, in essence, that you know, to be able to offload that, all the guys that are wearing stars, bars, and stripes here completely understand that support. And without that support, it doesn't happen very easily. And so my family has been through a lot. I thank you. So with that, Judy. So the next bit of support that I absolutely have had didn't just start when I became chief. So when I was a lieutenant, captain, somehow I was in charge of the detective bureau, and I got hooked up with this young lady who at one time was a chief's, I'll say the word, secretary, sorry, but it wasn't such a great experience. And so as I was getting promoted, I ended up partnering up with Jennifer Collins. So come on. Yeah. So Jennifer and I together, we grew up for the last probably 8 or 9 years at least, together as an entity. So when I was the deputy chief, Jennifer was my assistant. When I became chief, Jennifer was my assistant. Kicking and screaming, absolutely. So in essence, one of the most difficult things as chief was, and even as a captain, was relinquishing my freedom. So God forbid you put something on your own calendar. Because Jennifer would say, "No, what is this?" And I didn't put that there. So Jennifer, what I realized well into the first couple of years of me being chief is that there's no way I could have done this without you. So thank you for everything. I promise I'll make this quick. Linda touched on the partnership that she and I had. Well, when Dave Keatle was the chief and I was the assistant chief, he really did me a favor, and I had the opportunity to interact with the city manager, who was Linda, quite frequently. And Dave brought me along. Dave went surfing. Is Dave still here? Still surfing, aren't you? And I in essence, asked Dave after he was retiring, you were gone last year an awful lot. He goes, certainly to bolster my career, and it worked. But it got me and Linda to be comfortable with each other. So the very first thing that I recognized when I became chief, that there still is a class for chiefs and city managers to go to. And I'm like, well, why in God's name would a chief and a city manager need to go sit in a class to learn how to get along? If you don't get along from the get-go, you should probably go look for a new job. One of you should, at least. I know who's going to win that battle. And right when I became chief, we did a homeless summit. And I got up in front of a whole bunch of people and gave a presentation. And I made the comment that I work for the city manager. I said, my boss, the city manager, and Linda hit me up afterwards and said that there were a whole host of her friends and the people she surrounds herself with, that had no idea that the police chief worked for the city manager. So Linda, I'll tell you, if Mike has worked for 8 chiefs, I look at the pictures on the wall, and there's probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 or 12 folks ahead of me, and you are by far the best boss that I've ever had. So, Mayor Sandoval, I have never given my cell phone to any other elected official, just so you know. And what's interesting about you coming on board was that I was incredibly comfortable doing so right from the get-go. I think you're poised and you are set to do great things for this community, and I very much look forward to seeing that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be blunt when we meet, because when you announced your retirement, which I did a year ago, there's a bit of freedom that comes with that. And so the mayor and I had a one-on-one once a month, and I think I was waiting for him to just say, I don't really need to meet with you anymore. Because I would absolutely tell him what I thought, what I felt. Hopefully some of it was constructive. Such as, please stop walking through the crime scenes. Thank you for indulging me. And to the rest of the city council, you have been wonderful to me. The relationships are mutual. So you talk about my being nice and my being compassionate. You treat me the same way. Therefore, you treat the officers that way. And so that relationship just spreads down to the officers that serve this community. So thank you for serving. Thank you for taking care of us. So the rest of the village, my fellow chiefs that are out there, truly, you guys are my heroes. The only reason that I was able to get through most of what I've been through is because of you. Sometimes I'd go to meetings and I would ask questions that I just did not want the answer to. I remember specifically at a meeting asking, why can't I fire people that get arrested for DUI the first time? Why can't I? And these guys had the answer. As did my my favorite attorney, Jung Yim, who said, you know, I can't defend that. So thank you guys for everything. You truly are my heroes, and I'll forever appreciate everything you've done for me. There is no way that, that one person can do this job. And so my command staff that works directly with me in a true partnership, Mike Oliveri, Hector Rodriguez, Mike Ellis, Rochelle Batista, these are the true leaders of the Pomona Police Department. You guys, thank you for making this happen. Thank you for allowing me to retire, because you get to a point in time when it's just time. And truly, I feel that it's time. And I'm leaving the department in such good standing and in such good hands. And so the four of you, I know, will just move forward in true fashion that the department and the community needs. So congratulations to you guys.